How you doing? Ralphy here, Ralfy Customs. We're back on our mix Swingarm Triumph chop. It's been a week. It's been a bit of a jumbled up time for me, so excuse the delay in putting another video out. Anyway, we'll get back on and do this. Right, regular fucking readers will know that we're talking about coping and how I fit the rails to each other. So it's not something I've ever gone into in any great fucking length. But basically, and I hate that filler word, we offer it up, look, we line it up with its mate, or if it's the first one that we're putting in, we check that it's just where we want it, and then we mark where it's interfering with the rails that it's going to join. So we just put a straight up line where it's touching that front one and a straight across line where it's touching that bottom one, and then we get a chop off saw and we trim them off, look, so they end up looking a little something like that, and that gets us about where we want to be. It's really simple. See where it's touching, visualize this moving that way to fill that gap, and then you can see the angle of the dangle and how much you need to trim off. And I always mark it with a marker pen, and then use a cutting disc just to trim them off. So I'll stick that in the vise about like that, nice and square, and I know that I need to cut that off on that angle, and then I'll flip it and trim that bottom off and offer it up. Right, so I've got this look, cut up, and we offer that up back where it was. So it's tucked in there, it needs to go under that rail that's going across, but it's good enough for this, good enough for comparison. Hold on, like TC Harrison, if you know, you know. And we can see that ain't fucking far off. There's a bit too much of a gap when we come round here. See a bit of daylight there. Same with the bottom, there's a bit too much of a gap, so we need to use the soft pad now. What I'll do, I'll get a flat wheel, and I'll take some out of the very crown of this, the top of that, just to smooth it out a bit, and I'll do the same with the back of that, and then offer it up again. So it's a bit trial and error, but I mean, it ain't bad as it is. We'll clean it all up, take the burrs off, take some out of the top. Same here, take some out of this, the very top of it, and that should snug it up quite nicely. Like fucking so, look. So we've took some out, like I said. Then we use an half-round file. I just run an half-round file up the tube to get rid of any remaining burrs and give it a bang on the top light. There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to put it back in place and talk and film. So you can see now that's snugged up. There's still a little bit of a gap at the top, but that's okay because the top of the tube is going to move towards the front of the bike when I do the next one, which I'll do in just the same way. So I'll line it up with his mate best I can, and then I'll mark off the angle of the dangle of that seat rail, give it a trim up, see where we're at. I will probably, or definitely, I need to take a little bit out. You can't see it very well because the light glares these out, doesn't it? Just for this, just where it comes through and touches that. But it's pretty much the same on every join that I do. So offer it up, mark it, rough it out with a chop saw, see where it's touching, see what the gap is, sand it up to suit. I'm oversimplifying it, but it's not overcomplicated. There you go, look, so I've trimmed that off and trimmed the back off a little bit to get the shape that I need, and as you can see it don't quite go forward enough. So although it's not a bad fit as far as the joint goes, it's a bit too long. So we simply need to chop this back a little bit. I reckon I'll take a very thin slither following the lines that are already there, following the end of what's already there, because that's not a bad fucking fit, and then go from there. There we go, we've got that one matched up. It's just very slightly in front of this, same as the other side is. And if you, I can't really show it on camera, but if you eyeball it through, they're sitting nice and parallel. So with that done, I've already roughed out the next bits, which are two little short bits that go from here to here. Again, same fucking method applies. Offer it up, see where it hits, look, right on that back edge. Imagine the shape of this running through it at that angle and cut that corner off in this case. And then you can trace up the other side with a pen if you can get in, or you could put it on the inside, or you could do it long. You could work it out that way. And then trim the front off, you know. It's all pretty much of the same. And I've decided, because I need these rear engine mounts to be fuck-offable, then one bit of tube ain't going to do it. I need a triangle plate. I need 2 bolts at the back and 1 at the front. So I'm going to put a bit of box section in. I like the bottom one's got. So we've roughed a bit of that out, a bit too long. What we'll do, we'll decide on the height, and then we'll put the angle finder on probably and zero it plumb so it's not on the piss, and then mark it through from the back for shaping, just the same as we do the round tube. This ain't actually that bad. There's not that much of a gap as standard, because this is inch and the tube we're going to is 1.25 inches. So we're halfway there already. If it was parallel, we'd just take a little chunk out of that corner and it'd snug up lovely. Anyway, off camera I'll do them. You've seen how I do that rail pretty much. I'll get those in and I'll get that in, and then we'll look at the rear engine mounts. I think really worth a mention when it comes to that coping is notching. Take out a bit less than you think you need and then trim it to suit. Don't overstress that you've got a little gap there if you're MIG welding it, which is what I do, because that's good for your penetration. And at the end of the day, it's just a bit of tube. I've got more tube. Look, here's a test piece. Here's one I bent the wrong way. Look, I've even got an arrow on it pointing which way to bend it. Bent it the wrong fucking way. So that's no good. But because I take notes, I can duplicate it. Look, I can make another fucking rear rail. Cut one off at 24, bend it at 13 to 25 degrees. Take that question mark off. If there's a question mark, it's a tester. Try 45, see what it's like. If it works out, rub the question mark off. If it don't, alter 20 to 25, like I have in that case.
Don't forget, folks, our Fuck Stock stickers are now available in our Etsy store, link in the description below. Fuck Stock, you know it makes sense.
Righto, so there's that box section's in. We have to leave a gap there because the angle of the dangle. The whole thing, the widest part is where that box is, so it's going to be fucking tight to fit, like, no matter how you do it, unless you take one of these side rails off and go from there, like, but I ain't doing that, so you always end up with a bit of a gap there, which is fine on the joint, absolutely fine. And we've got those side chats in, yeah, just leaning slightly down at the back, I think. Like fucking so. Nice and fucking structure. So next up on the agenda is these plates that are going to go from here to here somehow. We need 2 points on here. May make a bracket with 2 points. Weld a plate on here with 2 threaded holes, or don't know, or turn some stuff. Hey, let's have a think. Get a CAD on the go. We've got some. We've got the OG. I don't know why that's got that date on it. Maybe it's not the OG. Seems too soon. Off my Triumph, but they're not, are they? I think they're off-handed, to be fair. And that's going to work for that. And that one's a little bit longer. Oh, a little bit shorter, sorry. That one's a little bit shorter. It's further back, so I reckon go with that plate. and then work out a way of fixing it to the box. Do some threaded chats. So, right, look at the fucking log. So, look at the fucking log. With a bit of CAD, we've got a slightly offset bracket. It came easily, as you can tell. And we've got the original one we started with marked out in this plate. And we got a little shorter, ready to cut out. I think that's right. I need to double check both of these. Once I make these brackets, 2 of these, I'll mark it out properly, work out some measurements. It's this profile that's important, how far it sticks out, because it's got to have 2 threaded holes. And then it needs to match the shape of the bracket that's coming onto it accordingly. So that will be happy days, I reckon. Here we go then. By the power of television, we've cut a pair of brackets out. We've tweaked the design slightly as well while we're at it, welded them together, and now we're going to drill them. 10mm clearance, so just going to run through with a pilot drill. I should have sped up the mighty Meddings, but it's a bit of a faff, so I'll just let this steadily work its way through, and then we'll switch out to the big one and run that through. Remembering, of course, to mention the good old, come out a bit quick, ankle lube that's on vogue, like you won't believe at the moment. And to be fair, it's good stuff. What a lot of people don't realise is that they recommend you water it down if you want to, because it's water based, and apply it with a brush, because getting it out of that pot without making a fucking mess is an art form in itself. And so in with the 10. 10.5. So again, a bit of fucking hankety wankily, and the way she blows, Captain. Not much wrong with that. So, give it a drop more, if I can. Without it going everywhere. Oh yeah. You know what we say about lube? Hey boys, right, this feels like it's about ready to come through, so that'll be number 1 done. Like so, and we'll get that started and then lube it up. Bear with, the return spring's not great on the Medding. Like so. And by the same CAD magic, we've mocked up this actually. We've held it all together and offered it up, and that's fucking seems bang on, that one. So we've marked the hole centres and we've drew round it, and we'll chop it out with the fucking cutting disc and clean it up. This one I'm not so fucking sure about, to be fair. There seems to be, the mounting that this goes on sits lower on the bike, but I wanted to make the brackets match in pair, these brackets, and sort the discrepancy out in the plate, so I need to double check that before I cut it out. But we'll get this one cut out, cleaned up, drilled out, and then we can look at getting one of these mounts on proper like. Righto, so let me just try and explain this badly. We've got the 2 plates bolted together. Obviously, that one's going to stay welded to the frame, chip box section. That one's going to bolt between that and the engine. To get the engine one, fucking I don't know what, did you hear that? I'd already made a centre dot, but not an heavy one, just based off the CAD. And now I've got a transfer punch through, yeah? So the point on the end of the transfer punch registered in that centre mark. I've made it a bit heavier, so I know it's right. So now we can drill that out to 12mm. I'm also going to put a relief in, drill an inch hole with the hole saw to make it snazzy, like. So we're back at the mighty Meddings for that. Let's get started first. I never find the fucking hole if I mush it up too much before I dig in. So, back over at the mighty Meddings, I'm going to get this 12mm hole drilled out. Bit of forearm action going on to increase the leverage. We'll do a tickling this drill bit up, but here we read. And then we need to drill the hole in the middle, the relief hole at 25mm. I'm just debating whether to do it here, do it in the milling machine, or fucking do it by hand with, well, not by hand, with a drilling device. Okay, so we've kind of come to a compromise. Not compromise, ain't really the word. We're not using the milling machine, and we're not using the hand drill. We're using the mighty Meddings, but we've toe clamped it down because I couldn't find a way of holding it. I was happy with like. So. The new fucking pilot drill certainly works, doesn't it? Let's see what it's doing. Jams up. Bit gnarly that is, ain't it, boys? We'll get there though. Nice and steady away. Then we'll give that all a dress up. We can clamp it all up and get the bracket clamped on the frame. Nearly there. Drop more lube and a bit squeaky. I'll work this through and join you in a minute. Righto, let's release it. Just jam that fucking return screw a bit. Get these off. Like so. I bet it's fucking red hot. Say what? Yeah. There we go. So I'll get that bolted on. I'll get it cleaned up and bolted on. And we can weld that first bracket on. Righty, how do you do that? So here's that one. Assembled yet not tacked. And would you believe I've fucking lost the cardboard headed design for the other one. I've cut that one out that we've just been doing, and obviously I'm using grinders and sanders, and they create a fucking draft, and I do believe it's fucked off. Oh well, we'll sort it. Crisis averted, we found it, but it ain't right. Look, the outcome's too low when we transfer punch it, so we made a lower one. We made one that it drops down, and then we've made a steel one to suit. So we'll get that bolted up and fitted on like the other one. We should be golden. And Bob's your auntie, look. There we go. That's both of them bolted up, tacked in place, ready to rock and roll. So fundamentally, not even fundamentally, that's the tube work fucking done. Yeah, we've got to beef them out. We've got to gusset these like so, and we have the shocker mounts to do as well. They'll be out a bit of turned and a bit of plate. We'll make some inserts, you'll see what we'll do. Right, so that's next on the agenda, I reckon. But I'm well happy with the last little bit of the tube work. I'm going to grab a quick screenshot if I can. Hold on. No, I can't, so I'll get one in a minute. So there you fucking go. Yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna, I went to a show at the weekend and I was honoured to win runner-up paint. Happy days, everyone's a winner there for me. I'll put some pictures up at the end of this, yeah? So stick around for them pictures. It just leaves me as always to say, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and a sub. Follow along, check out all the bump in the description below, and I will catch you on the next one. So I'll see you very soon, everyone. Take care. Big love.